Hi, I am Sarah and welcome to CoreMoodz. Today I'll be talking to you about my most anticipated reads of 2025. I had a list of books that I really wanted to get to that I couldn't get to, books released in 2025, mostly from authors I've read from before. And those books, I'm sad to say that it's already December and I didn't get to them. So I planned this reading blog so I can tackle a couple of them before New Year's Eve. The first book is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I think everyone has heard of this book by now. It's R.F. Kuang's take on the Divine Comedy. There's a little bit of a romantic story, a story of two people descending into hell to find their PhD professor. Yeah, so Catabasis. I'm really anticipating it. The next book I'm anticipating is The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalami. And the concept of this book seems very interesting to me. I love these kind of stories about a post-apocalyptic or dystopian future where we handed our crime investigative work over to AI. And then we have to live by the consequences of those actions. Mix that with a little bit of capitalism and you get The Dream Hotel. I don't know exactly what the synopsis is, but I just know it's about a woman who is imprisoned, and it's something similar to the Minority Report, the movie with Tom Cruise, where they can predict that you are going to commit a crime. So then they imprison you before you commit a crime, and then how do you get out? It seems very interesting, so probably going to pick it up. I'm also thinking of reading You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. I've read almost everything Andrew Joseph White has written. I love their writing. I love the way they think. I love the way they tackle a lot of very important themes. They are a little bit on the extreme side. They are not shy. Even when they write YA, they don't shy off from really intense and gruesome descriptions. So I'm really scared to read their debut adult work, but I think I'm really gonna like it. There are also other books that I really want to read, like All That We See or See by Ken Liu. It's also a 2025 release. I haven't read anything from Ken Liu when it comes to his sci-fi works. I read his sci-fi translation works because he translated the first and third books of the Three Body Problem books. But I haven't read the sci-fi he writes for himself. I was a little bit hesitant, but I think I really want to pick it up. I just know it's about some kind of virtual reality, some kind of computer world. I don't know. I think the main character is a programmer or something. Yeah, I hope to tackle it. There's also this book, Psychopomp and Circumstances. And when I saw the cover, I have no idea what the story is about, but the cover is making me think like, I think I'm really gonna like it. It's by Eden Royce. Also that book by Nuzo Una, Futility. The cover looks very gruesome and disgusting, but I think I might like that kind of book. Also, The Compound. I heard it pitched like a crossover between Love Island and some kind of dystopian story. I don't know, I just think that could be fun. Those are the possible books that I'm gonna read in this reading vlog. I hope I tackle as many as I can. Let's see how my journey goes. I started Catabasis and so far I really like it. Both main characters are detestable. Both of them are odd. I feel like the female main character, I just don't understand what moves her to go to the extreme of just going into the underworld to get your professor. She gave up half her life just to attempt going in there. So I'm like, what is it about your life that is so bad that you have to go into hell to get this professor to help fix it, when everything that I've read so far about this professor is like not good. He's like mean, he's aggressive, he abuses them, he like talks down to them, he pits them against each other. So I'm like, it's a very dark look at academia. It's like, I'm just very sad for her, and she's like, the way she's been trying to live just to get this degree. Yeah, I think it's going to be very triggering for those people that have their PhDs and had this similar situation happen. On the other side, the main male character, I don't really have a read on him. He just gives off computer vibes. He's like very intelligent, has a lot of analytic way of looking at things, but then sometimes he'll just be very awkward. So I just don't know what they're doing, what's going on there. And the female main lead is looking at him and being like, oh, he has the perfect life. He has everything that I want. And I understand why people say that if you look at this as a romance, you can enjoy it more, because nothing else they're going into hell, but the world is not really described. So it's like more about what they're doing and their inner thoughts about what's going on between them and what they want to do. And there's some element where they're talking about the scientific or the magic theory. So I have a trouble visualizing the world. Other than that, there has been a little bit of a revelation about how the professor got to hell. Yeah, that was interesting. But then I'm like, if you're gonna go into hell and you know that the way he went into hell was a little bit, I just don't know what she thinks is gonna happen when she arrives there. Is he gonna be like, oh, you're here to get me back? Thank you very much. I'll give you the recommendation letter you want. I just don't see that happening. So we shall see. And also the main male character, I have no idea why he's going in there, because from her perspective, he has like all the connections, all the abilities. He can go to any job he wants. Everyone wants him. Everyone loves him. Everyone. So I just don't understand why he's talking like he gave also half his life to go into hell. So I just don't know what pushed him to go to this kind of extreme. But we shall see. I'm gonna try to not be spoilery, not spoil anything going forward. Most of the things that I just mentioned were in the synopsis. So I'm just gonna try to be very general. Yeah, so far I'm liking it, even though the writing is not amazing. But I think it can go great and it can go bad. We shall see. I'm apprehensive, but I'm going into it with good vibes. I'm 55% into databases, and so far I'm really liking it. Even though I feel like the most interesting part of it to me is the characters. They're like detestable. Both of the characters vulnerabilities and also have blind spots and are not good at looking at their own behavior and how they got where they are. And both of them are very insecure, and their background explains why they are the way they are. So I'm like very sad for them that they never had someone, a healthy adult in their corner that could say, just be yourself, do what you want, and I will support you. So I just feel very sad that they both got sucked into, you have to be perfect, you have to be smart, you have to be the best. And the teacher, the professor that they went into hell to get back, has really used them to motivate each other by pitting them against each other, and they never saw that that's what's going on, because they were surviving and just busy with doing what they can do to be number one in this professor's eyes. So yeah, it's a very abusive, emotionally abusive dynamic that they have with the professor, and it's just sad the length they went to just to be the number one for this professor, and brings us back to the beginning, that they feel that they have to go to the underworld to get him back. It's just so depressing, because it's like, I wish that they could think outside of the bubble that they're in, but it's just very sad. The whole dynamic, their relationship to each other, their dynamic with the professor, their relationship with the academia, and also what they think that academia can do for them. It's a very. I just thought that was really sad, and I think that's the part that I like, that I think is interesting, because the world so far has not really been, it's kind of empty. It's like I have no idea. I can't imagine the world. I don't know what the world looks like. So it's like the author is leaning too much on the Dante's Inferno or the Divine Comedy world. Also, another interesting aspect. I don't remember if in the Divine Comedy there was a reincarnation, the concept reincarnation, if it was in that. Yeah, the world is not as well described or well defined. So it's like, could be anywhere. They could have cell phones. It could be Victorian era. I have no idea. It's a flimsy, empty background. But the characters I like, and it's like, I think I'm happy that I read the Crimson Moth duology just before starting this, because I feel if I've read something like a high fantasy, I would be more critical. But yeah, I'm just enjoying it. I am gonna go out. I think I'm gonna go and get some oliebollen. It's like this Dutch treat that is only available around holidays or the end of year holidays. So I'm gonna go on a walk. I'm gonna get some oliebollen, and I'm gonna continue reading, and I'm gonna try to finish the book tonight. 후회란 게 뭔지 물어본다면
입을 열고 말하려 했지만 숨겨둔 맘은 이미 흩어져 바람이 불어오는 듯 어쩌면 그냥 그런 거지 뭐.
Do these things do anything? Just feel sticky. I'm 70% into catabasis. And so far, I think the mystery at the start, why would those two young people with a promising future just give away half their lifespan to go into hell to get this teacher back? At 70% into the book, you kind of know why, and it's not a good reason. It's a very sad reason. And I feel like it's really hard to read this book because on the one side, I feel like the characters are very detestable. The characters have no introspection. They don't understand how they are a part of the problem and a part of the way they look at themselves. It's a part of the problem and it's a part of how they got to where they are, and that the way forward would be painful, and they would have to like adjust how their perspective of the future is going to be. But they don't want to do this. They think, well, I wanted to say doing it the easy way is the best, but living half your lifespan is not the easy way. But I feel like they don't know the consequences of a decision like that. Yeah, on the one side, I feel like it's very sad and very complex, and those characters got it where they are most because of themselves, but also because a lot of external input of adults that have their own issues and also their own way of looking at the things and their own priorities. Nothing else is happening. It's just it feels emotionally like something is happening while nothing is really happening in the plot. They're just still doing the same thing they did 20 pages into the book. So I think I'm a little bit frustrated with that. But there have been a little bit of reveals that anyone who's read a similar kind of book can predict. So it's not like, yeah, the twists are not really twists. They're like they're reveals that are you can guess. So I'm a little bit pointed because I feel like there's like this to the moment, but then you're like, oh, but I already guessed that. I feel like I want this story to end. So far, it's like a 3. Depending on how it ends, it could be a 3.5. I'm just trying not to be harsh. I expected way more. I don't know how this is gonna end. I don't know if the conclusion is gonna be satisfying. I'm gonna finish this book before I go to bed tonight. I didn't touch catabasis yesterday. I'm gonna make an effort and try to finish it today. I only have a couple of hours left, so I can definitely power through it. And I already started The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalami. And I'm very intrigued. I like the writing. I like the structure. I love where the story is going. I'm going to talk more about what it's about later. But right now, I'm going to try to finish Catabasis. I have an appointment I have to get to, so I'm going to listen on my way there and on my way back. Fingers crossed, I hope I finish it.
어둠 속에 갇혀 있던 나 빛을 찾아 헤매.
I just showered, and before that I finished Catabasis. I'm a little bit disappointed. The ending, I totally saw it coming, and there was a bit of a fake out earlier, so I saw that also coming because I was like, no way, they're gonna go down that road. But yeah, well, it was a fake out, so yeah, disappointed. So it's like a 3-star, but I think the story had a great potential, and I like the themes and the way R.F. Kuang thinks. I just think the execution wasn't there 100%. And I also think the strongest part is the toxic academia representation. I feel like that part is like on point. I also feel like it was in parts a little bit triggering because I feel if you're in a toxic work environment, a lot of the themes and situations can translate. So that was a little bit, triggering, and also very, I can totally see someone being locked up mentally and being very much stuck in that kind of way of thinking. The romance, well, it's a non-romance romance. I feel like it was my kind of romance because it wasn't too much romance, but at the same time, both of the main characters had feelings for each other, and that was like it colored a lot of their decisions. Yeah, Catabasis. And I started The Dream Hotel, and I already said I started, I think, in my last update. I'm now at 11%, and the story is very interesting because it's told in two timelines, and it's about a woman in one timeline that is locked up somewhere in a weird. It's kind of a prison, but it also feels like some kind of a screening process. It's I think the closest thing I can compare it to is those places or those prisons you go to if you are like in a awaiting asylum, or if you have, because it's like a weird area legally. So in that world, it's in a dystopian world, and it's a world that reminds me of that movie, The Minority Report by Tom Cruise, where they don't have crime anymore because they found a way to predict crime and stop crime before it happens. The way is some kind of a question mark. Is it AI? Is it some kind of other? I'm not sure what the screening process is to know that you are a liability. But everyone has a code, and that part reminds me of that Black Mirror episode where everyone has like a rating. And yeah, anyone who watched the episode knows what I'm talking about. Woman is in a prison awaiting, not knowing how long she's gonna be in there, not knowing exactly what she did. Question marks, question marks, question marks, and slowly you learn that every person in that prison is in there because of a similar question mark situation. And then we go to the second timeline, and in that timeline you see that she's a successful person getting back to the US and from England, and her husband is about to pick her up at the airport when at the last checkout screening, I think it's like the visa area, they're like, oh sorry, your score is it's not where it should be. And everyone's double checking, and then there's this code that her identity is linked to, so they take her into a different area, and then she ends up, I think, in the prison, and they tell her that she is they have to investigate, that she's they don't know what's going on, but they have to investigate because a crime is about to occur. She is about to commit a crime. We learned that usually it's like you go into that prison, you're there for 30 days, and in the 30 days they assess the situation, they get the facts, they see if what is it, were you gonna do it, yes or no. But most people stay there longer than the 30 days because the extensions and the extensions and the extensions can go on forever. Yeah, it's I think I like we're waiting and we don't know how long we're gonna wait. I went into this thinking it's gonna be like something similar to that book by Nouvelle. What is it called? The Test. And the test is about a man. I think him and his family are trying to get some kind of a citizenship, I think, somewhere, and they have to go through a test. And that test is very extreme. I thought it was going to be that kind of vibe, but it isn't. I don't know where it's going, but so far I'm really enjoying the writing. Yeah, I'm going to update when I'm further into the book. I'm 60% into the Dream Hotel. It's very interesting so far because, like I said earlier, it's like two timelines, or actually, we are in a timeline of the main character. She gets detained. Well, officially it's not detained, but she's on observation, held under observation in some kind of prison-like structure. What I think is interesting is that this book, I didn't know that it was going to be about imprisonment, prison life, the way you can advocate for yourself, that the bureaucracy versus intentions. And I feel like it has also a lot of themes relating to private prison environments and the structures and capitalism, and how you don't have a right to privacy nowadays and surveillance. So I think all of those themes are very interesting because in the timeline that she's in prison, not knowing why she's in prison, and then you flash back to how she got there, you flash back to her youth when she was a kid, and you flash back to her relationship. So I think it's very interesting so far, and also the environment, the group dynamics, her versus the other people that are detained, their perception on each other, because she feels like she did nothing wrong. They held her because they think she's going to do something in the future, and even though that's kind of basically what's going on with other people, the women are looking at each other like they're criminals, like, oh, there's a reason you got held. Well, I think a lot of suspicion, a lot of weird things going on. And for a while, I was like suspecting the prison guards. Are they also there for some kind of weird? Are they also there against their will, and that's why they're upset? Also made me think of the, what is it called, the Stanford prison experiment. Like normal people, if you put them in a situation where they have power over someone else, how extreme things can get. I'm very interested so far, but I don't know where it's gonna go. But I really like it so far. It's very interesting, very intriguing, and I feel like it's like hinting on the themes without actually being heavy-handed. So I like the subtle thing that's happening with the how the author is introducing the themes. Except I don't know what the origin is of the. I don't know what the origin is of the technology. Is it women being drowned in a pool hooked to machines like in the Minority Report, or is it some kind of AI, or is it something else? So I hope they give us more information about that. Also, another factor is the effect on being imprisoned on the people outside. I think that's also a very interesting side story, and also perception, because she has a family member who she perceived as being a criminal, but maybe things are not as they seem. A critique or kind of a, they mentioned someone she knows being very smart, doing some kind of PhD research, and all of a sudden this person decides, I'm gonna go off grid, and they buy a house somewhere, a farm or something that can self-sustain itself, and build area that they don't have to be plugged into the system, and how this one situation at the time to her seemed extreme and very weird. But now there are like communities rising up of people not wanting to be connected to anything online and wanting their privacy, and how that's affecting them being a part of society. Yeah, I think it's interesting because if you can be offline and then the government doesn't have information to imprison you, it's a very interesting way of looking at things, and kind of terrifying because this book in general reminds me of what is it, 1984 by George Orwell. Kind of has that kind of vibe, but without the pessimism or the, it's like engulfed a lot of similar themes, but then engulfed in a woman surviving in a prison situation. So I'm very intrigued so far. I'm gonna go into the city and I'm gonna be listening to the book, and I think I'm gonna be finished with it by the time I get back. I finished The Dream Hotel, and this book was so interesting. There are so much themes around privatizing. If I relate it to our world, because this is like a dystopian world, there are so many things around private prisons. What happens when a company that is trying to make profit is the one managing prisoners and prisons and jails and the simple economy of a prison. You have to like communicate to the outside world. You need to pay for that. You have to be entertained. You have to pay for that. And on top of that, they have to work to earn money to make sure that they are seen as someone that should re-enter society. So I just think this book's critique on prison life, prison standards, yeah, it was very interesting. How people, when they have like a little bit power, the guards, they think they're gods, and all of a sudden, and then empowered by the fact that those women are held not because they committed a crime, but because they're suspected of maybe in the future possibly being a danger in some way. I just feel like that would be very frustrating. And you also see from the main character, Sarah Hussein, from her point of view, the mental toll it takes to go through something like that, like denial in the beginning, submitting, trying to be invisible, and then being annoyed. Things are not working, being punished repeatedly, even though you're trying to follow the rules. Also, the ending was very impactful because I feel like the realization the main character has in the end, I wish more people had it. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people tend to like be passive and just wait and rely on the system. And I feel while I live in a high trust country, does not mean the government is always doing the right thing. And if you live in a country where there's no high trust and the government is just doing whatever, then you have no obligation to trust the government. You have to like educate yourself, check what you can do, what you should do, vote, make sure systems are how they should be, standards. But that's easier said than done. So yeah, very bleak. I also started and finished The Compound. The Compound is a book that has been on my radar. I've been really anticipating, mostly because people have been talking about the crossover between sci-fi horror and reality show, specifically Love Island. Even though I've never watched an episode of Love Island, but since July, or when those Love Island season, I don't remember, people were released from their seclusion. What is it called? I've been following all the drama, all the clashes of personalities, or the real life conflicts, and those have been really entertaining and very insightful. Even though I've never watched Love Island, so I like the chaos around it, but I just don't have it in me to watch 30 episodes in a month or whatever period, 6 weeks or something, that they are on that island. That's a bit excessive for me. But The Compound's about a group of young people, mostly beautiful young people, men and women, that are sent into the desert, a compound in the middle of the desert. This compound has been left behind by the previous group. So the state it's in is the state the last person from the previous group left it in. You don't know those people. So the group dynamics are very interesting. Men versus women. Who has what task? Is the group working together? Is the group falling apart? And they have to do tasks, sometimes extreme, sometimes frivolous, and earn objects. They don't pick the objects that they earn or the privileges they earn. They also have individual tasks they can't talk about, and those tasks sometimes create chaos, sometimes further disown person, depending on the fans on the outside, how they perceive that person. Everyone has to couple up at the end of the night. You have to have two people of opposite sex in one bed when the sun comes when the sun comes up. That's what guarantees you safety for the next day. You can still get banished if the task requires someone being banished. So it's very interesting. You see in the beginning it's fun and everyone's enjoying it and it's people getting along, and then it's when there's a lack of resources or there are conflicts and people are doing things they shouldn't do, and what is cheating in this context? Are those relationships real? Because they are not allowed to talk about anything before the day they enter the compound, so they can't talk about their personal lives, who they are, what they do, what they can't. So I just makes it very interesting, to see how authentic those bonds and relationships are. And also, once you're in there for a while, this becomes the world. So then you make your own rules. There's a little bit of a descent of society aspect. And I thought it was very interesting, very horrific, very human, and also very entertaining, because even though it has a very muted, calm tone, I think in that aspect it reminds me of Station 11. It has the same quietness, but at the same time, it's about interpersonal conflicts. So I really loved it. Really good book, 4 stars. I also started a couple of hours ago Psychopomp and Circumstances. That title alone has been very intriguing. The reason I picked this book and why I have been anticipating this book is the beautiful cover. This cover is from the moment I saw it, I was I don't care what this book is about. I don't usually read historical fiction. I am reading this. So I don't know if this book is just historical fiction because it says Southern Gothic. So I don't know if it has a little bit of a horror or if there are speculative elements. Right now, I'm just at the point where this young 21-year-old woman is in a position where by society standards that she has to get married. People are pressuring her to get married. If she doesn't marry, she's going to end up like her aunt that never got married, that left, that is a different kind of person. She does not want to get married, but doesn't see a way out because her mom has told her whole life that she can't do things. She's a woman. She's supposed to be pretty and do things pretty women do, and that's her whole value. She has to get married and have children. That's should be her purpose, and she disagrees. And her dad's a little bit of a quiet person, but I feel he's quietly supporting, but can't say anything because the mom is such a force. They get a letter that the aunt has passed away, and that I'm not sure if they keep saying her city. So I don't know if the aunt is a mayor or she owns a city, or I'm very interested to understand what they mean by that. Someone is asking, is someone from the family coming to take care of the funeral arrangements? And the mom says, no, this person is not a part of the family. But the daughter feels there's no reason. just because the mom and the aunt have had a very hard relationship and haven't talked in a long time. There's no reason for a family member to be buried without family present. So she feels obligated to go. And I think on the other hand, too, for her, it's also a chance at freedom, chance of seeing who am I? What can I do in the world? How does the world look like? So at this point, I'm very interested. I think 17% into the book, and it's like a very short book. It's like under 5 hours. So probably we'll finish it tonight. I wanted to go outside and sit and read, but it's really windy, so I'm not sure that's a good idea. So I'm just gonna walk around and read indoors with a hot chocolate. But before I go inside, I just wanted to talk to you about Psychopomp and Circumstances. I really love this book. It's so Southern Gothic, I think, is the genre, and I really loved it. It's like just very atmospheric, very full of character, and the main character is a young woman, and the journey she goes on, the way she looks at the world, the decisions she takes. It's a sad setup because it starts with the death of I think her aunt, her estranged aunt, but the journey she goes on, the doors that she opens for herself. I was very impressed by the way she looked at the situation and the decisions she made. I just loved the world, and I loved the overall. The writing was beautiful. It was a really amazing book, and I know I went into this book just because the cover is amazing, but the writing is great. I just was very impressed. So I started You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White, and I really loved it. Even though it's disgusting, it's gruesome, and the subject matter is very triggering, so I would check the trigger warnings list. But it's really, I love Andrew Joseph White. I've read from him before, and the characters he makes are very tortured characters, and they carry a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. Yeah, so far it's about the main character. He's a trans man. He has selective mutism, and he accidentally gets pregnant, and he's a part of this cult. They worship some kind of worm deity, and the worm deity decides, I want you to keep the baby. And that's so hard and triggering and traumatizing to the main character. And I think I'm 40% into it. Andrew Joseph White's writing is very visceral. He takes you into the nitty gritty of things. I would say it's extreme horror, but I don't know if it's classified as extreme horror. But to me, it's extreme horror. If this is his debut adult horror, then I think his other next books are going to be even more amazing. So I'm gonna finish this book, and it's probably gonna be my last, so I can wrap up this vlog.
한옥 담벼락 넘어 달빛이 흘러 초목길 위 너의 발걸음 소리 어른들의 말은 차가운 벽이 돼 우리 사이를 가로막아 서 있어 철창 너머 너의 눈빛은 별처럼 내 맘속에 작은 불을 지펴 비밀스런 약속 그 언덕 너머로 달이 지기 전에 만나자고
Was very intense last couple of weeks of the year. I read Catabasis. It was a 3.5 stars. I landed on a 3.5 stars because I think that while I was a little bit disappointed, I think I can look back at this book and like it more, because if you focus on the characters, on the relationship between the characters, the way they view each other. I think it can be a very enjoyable read. The second book I read is A Dream Hotel. Really loved it. Was really interested in everything it tackled. Its critique on capitalism, on private prisons, on how we look at criminals, how the dynamics in a prison, and also how people outside of when you're in prison, how life outside of the prison goes on and how people perceive each other. So it's like, I really loved the entire dynamic of the situation, and also the relationship between the prisoners and the guards, and also how in society ratings are important or not important. I think it was really a very interesting book. I also read The Compound by Aisling Roll, and I really liked The Compound. I gave it 4.5 stars, but it had like that tranquil, quiet, slow tempo vibes, and I really enjoyed those. And it was very tragic, very sad. Also, it's like you really feel how the main character sees herself and how she looks at her future. I read also Psycho Pomp and Circumstances, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I really love this book. I didn't know what the word psychopomp meant, but after Googling it, it was really, I didn't even know this word existed. So it was very interesting to know that there's this ritual and way of, and that's not just the fantasy element. That's like a real life thing that people need ceremony and rituals and a way to say goodbye to the people and animals or pets or anyone they loved. They need to say goodbye to. I just love how that's like essential. That's how humans are, and that humans need that. So I just really love the book, and I love that it was intertwined with a woman's journey to finding herself, finding a place for herself in the world, away from her parents' influence. And the last book I tackled is You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. I give this book 5 stars. It was so disgusting, so traumatizing, so heavy, so painful, unhuman in the way how the main character is very much doesn't like themselves, doesn't see themselves as worthy of love, of protection, of safety. It's so heartbreaking how the story starts, where it goes, and how it ends. And I think Andrew Joseph White will always be an author that I'm just very impressed by. The way they tackle the themes that they think are important is so aggressive, because that's like their way of expressing their aggression and emotion and anger. Yeah, it was very beautiful to witness. 2025 was a really interesting reading year for me, and I really loved a lot of books, and I was really happy to tackle the books that I could tackle in this vlog. I wish you a happy New Year's Eve, and may you start your year with everything that you are hoping for. If you are reading anything and you think this is a book that I think you should start your reading year with, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and bye.